So, thank you for joining us on day 4 of our 5 parts in the Power of Data week. 4 down, only tomorrow to go. I hope you've been enjoying them so far. Today we'll be demonstrating the power of data visualization, get my words out, showcasing some of the powerful capabilities of Microsoft's Power BI platform. This next webinar is aimed to demonstrate all things efficiency, stock, warehousing, shipping and inventory, and it's all about optimizing your operations within your business. So, my name is Chris Shanks. It has been all week and hopefully will continue to be, and I am the head of technology within the business and our resident technology evangelist. It is safe to say that I'm definitely an advocate of technology. I have a lot of smart home devices in the house, and definitely think it has a place in business as long as it has a purpose, and that it can help to improve and innovate on any existing solutions for the better and for the greater good. Before we move on to the business case for using Power BI within today's department of choice, which is operations, I'm using this time together with a hope that you'll get to know me a bit more than you may already do with a random fact on each webinar. So if you've missed the previous, then you'll have to go back and watch those webinars. So today's fact is back in 2009, I ended up attending one of the last ever gigs that Oasis played before they split up. What is even more unbelievable about this story is that they played stadiums, music festivals, multiple countries around the world, and yet they had been signed to play in my hometown of Bridlington to just 3,000 people. I think I still have the tickets somewhere in a box. I saw them on August 20th, 2009, and they ended up breaking up and splitting up on August 23rd, whilst they were meant to be playing a gig somewhere near Paris. So another little weird claim to fame for my past, alongside the other Facebook-related celebrity. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? So, the visualization of operations data. Why do we need to do it? Well, it might be that as a business you want that big picture view of stock and warehousing across one site, multiple sites, aging stock, so that you don't have to go and refer to spreadsheets, you don't have to go and refer to multiple stock management systems. You want the dashboards and reports to be able to tell you where the stock is and what you should be expecting. Perhaps you want to start forecasting the demand on your workforce to meet your demand in orders, returns and stock management. We all know that coming up to the busy Christmas period that the likes of Argos will always ask for winter helpers, because they know that the demand on their dispatching team and their returns team is higher. So they need to be able to try and predict how many workers they may need to bring in. And another thing that you may be experiencing is a desire to improve your customer service by reviewing how long each interaction or segment of your process takes. So from purchase to the goods being in the customer's hands, you've got various stages through that journey, and how are you making sure that each one of those is as efficient as possible using the data that you should be capturing. So, as I alluded to, we can take data from various stock management systems to find trends and patterns to show, perhaps how long stock has been sitting on shelf, average turnover rate, so how quickly does something take when it's on the shelf before it's packaged up and sent on to the client, and trying to forecast that potential stock demand. We can go further in some operational environments to use IoT to create smart visual factories, displaying key metrics and information to the entire workforce to ensure that they are on track and meeting those demands. So for anyone that doesn't yet know what Power BI is, where have you been? But if you don't, do not worry. I am here to explain that Power BI is a data visualization tool, and it is our tool of preference as it sits within the Microsoft Power Platform. Anyone within a business can benefit from good dashboarding and data visualizations, from sales to finance, marketing, operations and many more in between. We do prefer Power BI because we are certified Microsoft partners and it does natively integrate into lots of other useful business tools and resources. It's great for collaboration and communication. It has a very simple licensing plan, and information can be passed from Power BI to all of the other parts of the Microsoft ecosystem, such as Power Automate, Excel, Outlook, Word, to name a few. It's easy for someone with little to no knowledge to get started with Power BI to create basic visualizations, but to get the most insightful reports and dashboards, you probably need someone that can navigate Power BI a little better. Furthermore, you probably need someone within your business that has quite an analytical mind, someone that can work out which of the visualizations may be more impactful and designed to the data that they're trying to portray, and that the dashboards and reports have been designed in such a way that the user reading them will make sense of them very quickly. And it just avoids creating dashboards for the sake of creating them and a user being swamped with too many unactionable data points that they just can't make sense of. Our approach would always be to have an initial data visualization workshop. To understand, we go through the 4 pillars and then we'd put a proposal together. So without further ado, I will come on to today's demo, which is the operations dashboards. So here we are back in the WWI Wide World Importers, but this time we do have our operations hat on. So first of all, we are going to go into inventory performance. And straight away, we are presented with some graphs that we have not seen this week. So we have the stacked line graphs here that are showing us month on month the orders, returns, and inventory. So even I can start to understand trends in this business, that they get more orders in June, July, and then naturally it builds to December where it peaks. But what we're ideally looking for is where the returns are lowest against the sales. Yes, they have some form of a correlation because the more you sell, the more likely you're going to get returns. But if we can keep those returns as low as possible and find those trends. Here on the bottom, you can see that we have a more of a table style visualization. So it's showing us the location, the product category, how much that stock is worth, what the quantity is. I believe the inventory turnover ratio is the percentage of stock on the shelves and how quickly it is turned over from on shelf to back in front of client, and that would then be the period that it sits on the shelf. Over in the right hand side, we do have our artificial intelligence doing some useful insights and quick summaries and sentences for us to understand. And then in the bottom corner, we have our bubble visualization, which shows metrics over a period of time. And if we quickly hit play, you can see how those different numbers are moving around and displaying the cost of goods sold by different sales and channels over time. We can go on to a further deeper dashboard here if we go on to inventory, and you can see that we have our inventory by product category, and if we hover over from lighting, it then starts to break down into the further categories of lighting, and I'm sure if we go into furniture you can see the breakdown of the different furniture categories. We do have our AI keyword search where we can ask a Power BI question. It will go and search our data set and try and find us the answer. I think interesting here is the key influence insights. So once again, Power BI is trying to find patterns for us, and here the question is what influences back orders to increase. So when do we need to back order stock? And interestingly, it's saying that the average of back order count increases by nearly 40% when shipping costs is more than 38,000. So when we have a lot of shipping, that's when we know we've naturally got more back orders because we're sending out a lot. Or if there's lots of orders, we probably have to back order, or when the return by supplier goes up as well. So already we can start to understand why are we getting more back orders, why do we not have stock on the shelves. We do have our decomposition tree, which as you will know by now is one of my favourite visualizations. And this allowed us to understand where these back orders are belonging. So we can search by state here, or we can do it by product name, and it will start to drill down and show us where we have those back orders and how much they are worth. So where do we need to prioritize getting stock on those shelves? If we go back to the inventory screen, we'd then have inventory forecasting. Once again, I think this is a very interesting dashboard for someone that would be in your warehousing department. Not only is it showing us the unit cost and price, and then the forecasting for inventory quantity. However, you'll see at the bottom here that it is starting to show you those predictions with upper and lower boundaries. So it has learnt over time, and then it is then predicting the future to try and aid with how much stock you should have. And if we hover over certain parts of this line graph, it will start to explain where those metrics have come from and how it's began to build those artificial intelligence driven patterns. Back to the home screen, and we're going to go into the warehouse operating expense. So that's going to start to show us which of our warehouses are the most efficient in terms of on costs. So as you'll see here, admin, electricity, receiving, rent, shortage, or storage even. So if we hover over rent, it's then been drilled down quarter by quarter, and we'd like to hope that our rent has been pretty stable over the year. If we check both sites, we can see it there. So we're just looking for where those costs may have changed between our two warehouses. Here we are showing products stored more than 10 days. So that would, once again, is any product that would be sat on the shelf for too long. And if we hover over, it'll start to drill down and show us those percentages. If we click on additional information here, it's starting to let us understand what the expense versus the storage capacity. So how much of our stock can we store in these warehouses versus the cost that it is against the business. The last dashboard we have is an insight into the shipping time. So here we are focusing on just our Washington warehouse. And if we hover over January, the average here is somewhere between 2 and 3 days. But if we deep dive into it, we can see that the pick and pack is taking about 4.5 hours, and then it's taking 6.5 hours to get to receiving. So we can then start to understand, as I mentioned in the introduction, where those different elements of our business and processes are all coming together to improve that customer service. And then we've got a large table here that is showing us the average shipping by day, by month, from warehouse to retail store. So we can start to understand a bit more about our data and where there are any bottlenecks or inefficiencies. I think this is maybe one of the most interesting webinars of the week, especially because it can have, I imagine, such a large impact on stock within a business, being able to get stock to the right places at the right times and managing operationally those processes. So if we switch back to the presentation, the next steps for anyone that has seen what they like and perhaps would like a bit more information about it, maybe it's sparked an interest, we do offer a free Art of the Possible workshop where we can begin to understand your business requirements and go into more depth around the possibility that Power BI could bring to you. Following on from that, we have a data visualization workshop. This is where we take your specific dashboards and reports, and they can be wireframed. These precise visualizations that you might need will be discussed, and we present those to you with a bespoke report that demonstrates how that your data can be represented within Power BI in a way that makes sense to you and to your users. We do charge for this workshop as we do believe that it brings a high level of value to the process, to the project, and to your commitment. Following that, we would be able to then discuss the development of your bespoke dashboard, present you with a proposal, and hopefully build those and deploy them straight into your native account. For those of you that would like to join us for the rest of the week, and by that I suppose I mean our last webinar tomorrow, which is Friday, it is for the creatives to make the most of your marketing spend. If you have missed any of the previous 3 webinars, they are available to watch on demand through our website. And that website that you so are keen to view is www.visualisation.com. firstdigital.co.uk. I hope this has given you a little insight into how Power BI might be used within an operational environment. Please do join me tomorrow for the last in the Power of Data week, or if you'd like, you can reach out to me through chris.shanks@firstdigital.co.uk. Thank you.